All right, guys, we're back. Been a while. As you can maybe still tell, I have a bit of residual laryngitis, so it's going to be a short video. And actually, I forgot to post this sucker on Twitter. But yeah, still recovering from a bit of laryngitis. So let me see here. But getting better and better day by day. Um, it seems like towards the evening now, it's starting to get worse again, unfortunately. Uh, okay. All right. So I was talking to a client. Actually, let me do the wine first. We do have a wine tonight. We have a Friuli Colli Orientale. Very, very nice Sauvignon Blanc. Very, very nice. I've always been a big fan of Friuli Sauvignon Blanc. It's not too it's so different from New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Very, very different beast. New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc is going to be very, very grassy and green. Um, the pyrazine really gets pumped up, and that's what people think Sauvignon Blanc is. It's so much more mild with the Italian ones. It's even more mild than the French. I think it's probably one of the most mild of them all, to be honest, around the world. It's mostly just nice and easy drinking, some complexity, but it's mostly just bright, you know, apples, lemon zest kind of thing. So, I was talking to a client recently about this, and he was going through a impasse with a woman he'd been seeing for about half a year, and it was she was called to basically go elsewhere, and he was also having a pull to go elsewhere, but they were trying to make this relationship work. He didn't know whether or not he should continue with it, whether or not he should stay with her, or and try to do long distance or chart his own path. And I recommended that he leave. And this is what I was basically telling him. I was explaining this idea of transitional relationships. So I believe in a prior video, I can actually check real quick, but I believe in a prior video, I I've talked about karmic relationships, right? I'm looking here. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But karmic relationships are, let me just see this. I want to make sure because I might go into both of them if I haven't. Huh. I don't think I did it. So, karmic relationships and transitional relationships. I talk about karmic relationships because these are relationships where you have work to do, very clear work to do with a woman. Um, there's some sort of dynamic between the two of you. You guys are gonna have your issues together that are gonna bring up things and are gonna help you to grow. That are gonna work out issues you have, and there's also shared issues that you go through um, in terms of life experiences, which could be like raising kids even. But karmic relationships are these relationships that are essentially about you having a mission. The two of you have missions together, multiple missions perhaps, and um, you have to stay together until those missions are completed. And once those missions are completed, then either what I've noticed is the relationships end, or you can kind of just really enjoy yourself in them. They become easy and fun and great, right? Those are the difference. That's karmic relationships. Transitional relationships are interesting because they're not very long. They're usually a few months to a year. But transitional relationships, they kind of hover between tier 1 and tier 2, right? In tier 1, you're supposed to be with a girl. There's a deep connection. Tier 2, it's kind of more, you can only go to a certain depth. It's more of like a 3 months usually. Uh, honeymoon phase kind of stuff, and then you realize you can't go deeper with a girl, so that's it. These transitional relationships are, I consider them to be tier 2, but they're, how do I put it? They're heavier tier 2 relationships, and they tend to last longer. And when I say heavier, I mean that you have a deeper connection with them than other tier 2 girls, even though they're still not the kind of girl that you're going to be with for a long period of time. So in the situation with a client, you had the clear answer of this automatically because the woman was going to go to a different state. She was going to move. Okay. And she was going to move in with her friend. And she was like, not kind of ambivalent. Like, she wanted to stay with him and she kind of wanted him to come, but she wasn't like, hey, I wouldn't want to go to this place. Come with me. It was like, oh, I'm going here. Yeah, you should come too. Like, that's not the behavior of someone who's committed. Transitional relationships are supportive relationships. That's how I like to describe them. Because a transitional relationship will usually come after a heavy hitter relationship prior. So that heavy hitter relationship prior, really, you needed almost some healing. You almost needed somebody who you could just enjoy being with, and they could almost help you to, like, hey, you're a cool person. Don't stay dragged down in the past, kind of thing. But they don't have any legs. They don't have any future. And so the reason for this video, I want you guys to understand this. If you find yourself with a woman, you feel like there's no real, like, you have a hard time really committing to her. Maybe you're exclusive, but you have a hard time like really seeing a future with her. But she's come on the tail end of a more serious relationship, then this could be a transitional one. It's like a rebound, although rebounds are usually one-sided. And so I like to call a transitional relationship what it is, because a transitional relationship is much more about both of you getting something from the other person. And but the key thing here is that you only stay on the surface with them, even though you may really have a lot of caring and everything for each other. You're not going deep enough. You can't go deep enough to deal with any kind of karmic stuff. You can see like, oh wow, she's got a lot on the hood there. I don't want to deal with it. And she says the same to you. It's transitional. And the big lesson with the transitional relationship is that you have to be prepared to let them go. You have to be prepared to honor the natural ending of these things, which, 3, 6, 12 months, right? And say, yeah, that was great. And I'm going to move on to the greener pastures. A lot of people talk about openness to new experiences, but what I would really encourage you guys is to become not simply open to life, but to become open to death. I mean that in a real sense of people dying, but I also mean it in the metaphoric sense of relationships ending, things leaving your life. You can only carry so much with you. And if you really want to be open to new experiences on anything more than a superficial level, you have to be willing to let things go. Transitional relationships are great practice for this, because in a transitional relationship, you know that, you try to force it, you're only going to get pain. That's just how it is. You will have a huge, huge immune response to it. From funny chats here. All abortions are currently buy one, get one free. Well, look, guys, we'll talk about that in the COVID cabal. All right, Adam, I'll answer your question real quick, because yeah, as Ben said above, I do have a fucked up throat. And I got another show after this, and You know what's funny is that my throat. I actually signed up to do this show because the throat was holding out pretty well, but just all of a sudden it cracked out the last, I guess, hour. Um, Hi, when a girl blocks you all of a sudden after we were talking and she showed high interest, does it mean that she has a boyfriend already? Uh, Possible that she has a boyfriend, but it's also possible that she's just immature. A lot of girls are extremely retarded. I mean, don't underestimate the level of maturity of a girl who, if she has high anxiety and she's immature, she'll show interest in you and then she gets the validation and then yeah, she disappears. Yeah, she flakes, exactly. It's a high anxiety girl. She's a mess. And honestly, man, if I can tell you one thing, just those girls are doing you such a favor. If you try to if you try to be with a girl like that, like you couldn't waste your energy on anything more. Don't I know it can take some experience to get used to it emotionally, but it's just a total such a fucking waste of your time. So don't sweat it. She did you a favor. If you did get to see her, then she'd flake again. And it's a rite of passage. I dated girls like that for a period of time. Just fucking sucks. uh, yeah, yeah. Grandpa game here. Last question: is it true a decent woman wouldn't play games? Um, I don't want to go that far. I mean, playing games has a pretty strong connotation, but let's just differentiate playing games from having game. I mean, having game may give a level of uh it gets you interested. The difference between playing games and having game is intent to manipulate, right? Versus simply enjoying the tension and seeing how you're going to respond to it when she does certain stuff. It's a gray area, the transition point. But the big point I want to say here, Adam, is that there are decent women who at one point in their life did exactly what you're saying, what you were describing in the situation. It doesn't mean that they're bad people, and it doesn't mean that they might not be decent down the line. It's really more a product of immaturity. A girl likes a guy, then she gets super scared of what that means. When a woman realizes that she gets a guy to desire her, it's a really scary thing because she doesn't know how to handle it. She doesn't know how to carry that burden of connection. So for her, for younger women, they have this flightiness and it's feminine. It's just a very immature, anxious femininity. It doesn't mean she's always going to be like that. Women do learn from it. A lot of women do this stuff when they're younger and they grow out of it. That doesn't mean you should wait for them. But I don't want to go so far as to say that they're not decent people. But is she is she material at that moment to date? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. All right, guys. Short little video for you today. Appreciate it. Assuming my voice is good, we're going to be jumping back in. I have an interview with Jack Peach tomorrow. It's going to be very, very fun. And that'll get put up probably by Thursday or Friday. Adam, she was chasing you at the start. That makes perfect sense because she was chasing you to get your attention, which she got. You followed her afterwards. I don't blame you. But whenever a girl chases you, it's almost inevitable that when you pursue her in turn, that she's going to run away because that's just how those kind of girls are. All right, guys, I'll see you.